played Mirage at all with this particular lineup. So, you know, they obviously have Hades in there now and everything else. But we're going to end on Dust 2. Interesting way to go, I suppose. But, yeah, I don't necessarily hate it. Both pretty good map for both of them. So no real complaints. They both played a lot too, which I think is another interesting factor. Wow, we're not wasting any time. Straight into the action. Heroic versus FUT here at the second day of the CAC, coming live direct here with the PGL production in Perfect World in Shanghai. And there's going to be a straight A setup. They've already set up the smoke, so we all know what this looks like by now. Smoke towards the donut and towards CT spawn. And there's really only one player in here that can even pretend to do anything about it, and they're not going to even try. So it's going to be a full-on retake with no kit available. That's really rough.
Yeah, and they're also going to have to wait out those smokes as well. So this is going to take a lot of time off the clock. That fuse already escalating away. Youngster going to be making moves through on the donut side. They've got the Julies in the hands of TYLOO, who's kind of become the star player on this heroic roster, trying to fill the very deep shoes of Tania. But it is Sentry that comes first and gets the kill onto Hades. It's gone from bad to worse here as the time continues to just tick ever so quickly towards its final destination. But LNZ, the IGL, whips out the knife and very nearly gets the stab. But it doesn't matter, even though they litter the body with FUT, the bomb will still detonate and FUT will still take first blood.
Oh, that is a sick way to get started. I really enjoy that. There's some great headshots coming out with the USPs, but apart from that, you know, without the kit or even a smoke to put on top of the bomb, there was just never enough pressure. So even the knife coming out at the end there, what a wild way to get the game started. I love everything about it. Yeah, I think even now you can start to tell that they're not going to be able to defuse for 10 seconds here. Like, that's just not going to happen at this stage. LNC is a great effort, it really is, but not enough.
A bit of confidence to think that their general feeling in terms of the aim being on point with some of those rapid headshots, but
true.
Yeah, just a great call for FUT and taking it full circle. It will be a force buy as well. Obviously, you do get a bit of extra cash now with the economy and the CT, so you can afford to come out with this one. The flash is good, but the follow-up damage not quite there. Oh, so much, though, but Sentry does get the kill to LNZ and now can push through. 5-7 round the corner, catching them completely off guard as they were switching weapons, trying to get that bomb planted, and it falls down to the IGL in a 1-on-2.
That's a very smart play for TYLOO. He was there as the third man, but he decided to hide instead of fighting with the other three, and, you know, I think even if he had, he probably just would have got mowed down with the rest of them, but the fact that he hid behind the pillar for a second more, they all assumed that that was it. There was nobody else on the bomb side, and they could just kind of take a moment to reload and everything else, and they got jumped on instead, so super smart play. TYLOO's going to be getting that one as well, so overall good job. It's going to be Heroic winning the second round. TYLOO's entry into this team was obviously super confusing, right? Like, they had a whole crazy scenario where they had Tanier as like a temporary stand-in, but then he was so good that they just kept playing with him, and TYLOO was kind of off on the side weirdly. Like, it was so confusing at the beginning.
Yeah, they had TYLOO was on the side. I think Madden also was at one stage, and then like you said, Tanier comes in, plays so well that he kind of takes the spot, and obviously he's away to greener pastures in Spirit. So yeah, it's been a bit of a weird one. FUT picking up the pace here though.
Yeah, no slowing this one down. It's another B rush because they work so incredibly well. TYLOO surely going to get this kill on Longs though. The M4 around the corner. Mac 10 is right there, and oh my god, it's Jukes instead. Look at the headshots coming through with the Tech 9. He was ready to fight and give it all. That would have been so sick. But it highlights exactly what this guy is all about. His time to kill when you're on his screen is just so ridiculously low.
Man, I've got to say, I love the just rapid pace, the chaos. At some point, surely it has to slow down. I mean, FUT have been certainly slapped away into this round. Once again, no plant will be coming through. So options not necessarily ideal. But that was one of the questions, though. You know, we were touching on Tanier there. Is like, who would fill his shoes? Because he was pretty much the star. He was top of the scoreboard more often than not. And no disrespect to like excl or Youngster on this squad, but they don't necessarily have that same level of impact. So that's one of the problems for this heroic squad, as far as I can see, as it stands.
Yeah, I mean, it is a really interesting assortment of players for sure, but there could definitely be an issue in the future there. Although I will say, Heroic, for some reason, have a really good track record, in my opinion, of putting together these teams. And every time they do, I always question it in my mind. I always think, what is this? But somehow it kind of works out. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they will find a way to make all of this work together anyway. I do really enjoy watching Heroic play. Ooh, Jukes again. Great couple of kills here, just to soften them up and make sure some of the economy goes away. That's actually pretty important. But nonetheless, it's FUT winning the pistol round and then losing the next 3. So Heroic, you know, yeah, they lose a rifle or 2. I think they're still in a pretty good mood right now.
Oh, no doubt. They'll be feeling good. And yeah, Heroic's that kind of team. They remind me a little bit of kind of like a GamerLegion, like this kind of revolving door of getting talent involved that maybe is a bit lesser known, and then they end up moving across to a bigger team afterwards, which has really pillaged their prospects going forward, of course. But it looks like FUT are picking up the pace again, Anders, and this time it's going to be the A side.
I love it. Why slow it down? Why give Heroic time to breathe here? They're already going to be in. Execute from T-Spawn with the smokes. Krabeni with the headshot to take down Hades, and Xcloud's going to get blown up again. Jukes once again hitting another headshot. He's so sharp. LNC and Lino, though, they're fighting back, and look at, even when they plant the bomb, they just keep on battling. They're still running, this time though towards the donut position. It's kind of crazy. Youngster's gonna come in with a good couple of kills, and look at him shouting and just high-fiving his team there on the camera. That's sick. I mean, this is exciting Counter-Strike. It is. They're so quick and they're so aggressive that they're not even slowing down to plant the bomb. This truly is like the ADHD generation, Vince, that we're dealing with. Like, they just won't stop.
Well, there's a lot of very young players on the server for sure, but I mean, it's not just the aggression though, it's also the confidence. Like you said, there's no hesitation whatsoever. Once that call is made from LNZ, they are just going hell for leather. They're not stopping, they're not slowing down. Straight in. And FUT also super aggressive, of course, on the other side of things. But Logs already wrecked down to 39's having a rough one. Krabeni, though, is going to pick up LNZ. So that Battle of the IGLs this time is going to work in their favor. And I wonder how many rounds they keep pushing in this aggressively before FUT realize, like, okay, maybe we should slow it down a little bit. Maybe we should try and play and get rid of some of this utility that's been accruing and building up. excl in the meanwhile, though, plucks out Jugs in midair. And that should be good for a 5-1 lead. A rapid, quick-fire 5-1 lead, or maybe I've spoke too soon.
Yeah, that kill on excl suddenly does change quite a bit. 3 versus 3 now. The bomb, though, is a million miles away. It's in T-spawn, and Youngster is going to sort of stumble into it. If he didn't know already, he definitely does now. Hades sneaking around the corner. We haven't even got a chance to introduce really anything on the Heroic side, but Hades is one of my favorite authors. He's super sick to watch. A little bit inconsistent. He's had his ups and downs, but I think he's absolutely great at the game. He's going to take down Krabeni. Another potential Polish star, in my opinion. I know he's had some downturns in his career, but I think he's ready to come back and do even more. I've not given up on Hades, is what I'm trying to say, really. Demon should be dead in this one. He absolutely will be. Hades locking it down. But just to answer your earlier question about slowing it down, I think that the danger is if you come in with a plan to go really fast out the gate, if you have to concede that plan and slow it down, I think those games are really hard to recover. There's something about it where it's like the whole team knows, damn, our main plan didn't work and now we're on to plan B already. It just doesn't feel good. But obviously, the result isn't exactly what you want here, so maybe they have to.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It definitely is a confidence shaker, but I suppose at the same time, this is where you're looking for Krabeni, who himself is an incredibly young IGL, to have some kind of like... It's not even necessarily about plan B. I think you can kind of put it as like a plan A.1, A.2 type thing, where
sure,
you even maybe change the aggression from being straight up A or B to take mid control. And then from mid control, you can go multiple places. Of course, Ancient is a map that lends itself a lot to mid control, having a huge impact on how things fare. But here we go. We got rifles. Let's have a look, Anders. What is the general play? It does seem like it's going to be slower paced, filtering out across the map, and some nades being exchanged on middle.
There's going to be more of them. They've got 2 people in T-spawn throwing over grenades. So look, there's going to be a lot of flashbangs potentially thrown over. I think they're only going to stick with a couple of them, but in fairness, they could have had 4 flashbangs just ready to go over the wall if there were any CTs that wanted to fight in here. So definitely mid control. But you're right though. This is a bit more sort of the normal pace of Ancient. Normally you'll see the T stacking outside of B and trying to go for some wall bangs. If you've ever seen Nico play this map, you know he loves the wall bangs into B. And that sort of stuff we haven't even had time for because FUT have just been way too quick with everything. But looks like we are going to see a B attack, although it's going to have to be fast because Nilo's already in T spawn.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of intel as well. Now moving through into middle. He does get spotted from longs and put on his back. So FUT finally have that first pick and pretty cleanly. No counter-fragging, no avenging available on the side of Heroic. And they don't have a huge amount of utility on bolster of, the bulk of their players. The bolster of it is on Hades. Molly and 2 flashes is now the aggression coming through onto the B side. Symmetry does get the first one. LNC's position is so important, so integral if he wants to try and save his teammates here, but he was wounded so heavily and just wall banged down, peppered from Demon. Oh, and through the smoke, Symmetry will not allow any saved weapons from excl at least. And so Hades can do nothing but just hold on to his AWP.
That's great, though. I think that actually helps to answer your question from earlier about, you know, going fast or slow. And I was saying, you know, it could be real scary if you have to disengage from the fast and go back into the slow. But they've just proven that that's something that they can do. And I guess just from, like, I think you and I both casted some of the Na'Vi Junior games in the past. And I've certainly covered, like, a lot of the Na'Vi Junior games. Krabeni, I think, is a captain who can definitely play a much slower style and can feel comfortable in that from what I remember. I have a lot of respect for him. I think he took that Na'Vi Junior team to incredible highs. Like, you know, people super underestimated them or maybe didn't even know about them at one point in time. But I think he's got some real flair for leadership. So not too surprised to see that they're able to do a little bit of work here. But that was an important round. And in theory, if they win the next one too, then this game is opening up again very fast for the T side.
Yeah, and not to take anything away from Makaze, who of course has gone up to Na'Vi, the primary team now, but honestly, Krabeni, in the way that he IGL'd, I think really did allow Makaze to show just how good he was.
Yeah.
Put himself in that spotlight, get the promotion, as it were. So I definitely agree with you. He's a solid IGL and he's got a very bright future ahead of him. Meanwhile, though, Demon is just pushing straight up. Not really getting too many grenades behind it and already getting up close on A.
Yeah, I think they're pretending like it's the same mid control as last time, but instead it's going to be an A attack. So they've thrown all the mid utility that they almost did in the previous round, and instead they're going to turn it into something different here. Bomb being planted, nothing connecting through the smoke. That can be very hard on the A bomb side, I feel like. The lines to avoid getting shot through the smoke, and now look at this flank coming in. LNC is kind of checking for it. All right, that's heads up, and I think he's dead now. It's still buying a lot of time. That's a good, 5 seconds off the clock here. And they're already running it a little bit low on time, so they've got to get here to the bomb site very fast. Not seeing a kit in play either, so either way, this is going to be really tough. 10-second defuse being attempted inside of it here. Oh, it's actually going to work as well. They find the headshot. That's ridiculous. excl coming in with 3 kills, and somehow they complete the full 10-second defuse. Heroic. I feel like they should have lost that round.
Am I right in thinking that they planted the bomb on the wrong side to watch it from A main side there? Because it felt like it. They threw a grenade in. Let's have a look here. They threw a grenade in onto the smoke to try and blow it open so they could deal with the bomb diffuser, and it did absolutely nothing. It was too shallow.
Yeah.
So it completely backfires. Really awkward.
Yeah, I think if nothing else, at least the grenade certainly didn't blow open the smoke nearly enough. I feel like they put in a corner where there's no way they don't know where the bomb is, so... Yeah, that's unfortunate for the side of FUT here. Demon, though, in the middle. That's a great opening. Even if he gets traded, you're still going to be enjoying that. Nilo has been playing over on this A side, so it does weaken things quite a bit. Krabeni finding himself alone out here, but let's see where they want to go with it. Oh, they're going to find him as well, Youngstar. That's so important. It puts so much pressure in. Through the smoke here, excl, he's ready. Yeah, if more are coming through, he's going to be ready to take those kills. That should be enough to win the round.
Should, but oh, Symmetry I thought may get the drop on Hades. It goes the other way, and man, although FUT have been the aggressors and really dictated the pace of most of these rounds, a 7-2 scoreline is so brutal. Maybe a little bit harsh overall, like they have made a couple of flubs and mistakes here and there, but
sure,
Heroic have been ruthless. Given any opportunity, they're knocking the door down and taking what's theirs.
I love everything about this game. There are so many players on the server that I super enjoy. We've only had a chance to mention a couple of them. I had my speech about Hades, but I think Youngstar is a super fun player. I really enjoy watching him play the game, and he's got like a certain energy about him on camera too. Like it's not just even in the server. Like he's just got like a very intense kind of energy. I super love it. I think it's cool. excl, obviously one of the few Turkish players that kind of got left out of the party happening over in Aurora or previously Eternal Fire, but he is kind of a grinder himself. Like don't underestimate excl. He had his like early attempt in tier 1 at some point with Cloud9 with the whole Henry project, but I would say that he's definitely still somebody to look for. So they've got just a lot of interesting players on the server at the moment.
Yeah, and a lot of storylines too, because you mentioned excl there. Don't forget as well that he was in the original sort of heroic lineup coming out of Single Esports.
Yeah.
And then he got benched, and then he was brought back in again because of roster changes. So a guy that's hung in there and is still playing as best he possibly can to maintain in that position. Yeah,
the other Turkish player on Sangal back then was obviously Jota, who's gone on to play with Aurora, which I still think is a great pickup. I super enjoy the way that Jota plays the game, but yeah, excl, it's not impossible that even we're thinking about one or the other because they are both really solid players. At 7-2 here, Krabeni, important kill, but no one's going to be checking for it. Oh, he was checking for it, but LNC, easy execution, Lonks crouching and spraying the crab walk right under, and 7-3 with a kill onto Nilo. Hades here. Unfortunately, not that much that he can do. He's going to stick around because they've been playing so aggressively. I think what Hades is probably... Well, he himself is also a very aggressive player, but he's probably thinking, if they make one mistake, if they go and hunt for me, it's a quick 1 versus 2, and I can probably win that. He is the type of player that will try and win those clutches, but he's never given an opportunity, so we'll have to walk away instead. Finally, a third round.
Yeah, just 3 deaths for Hades, assuming he survives this incursion. He's about to get pushed from Lonks, who himself... only 20 years of age and has had a really storied past. I mean, Lonks feels like he's been around forever. He's obviously been at Nexus before. Even if you go back far enough, he was actually in Falcons for a brief amount of time, and Sprout before that too.
True.
So his career's been going on 5 or 6 years and just 20 years of age.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how it almost felt like he disappeared from the scene for a bit, but he was a really hot name for a good long while, and presumably there's no reason why he couldn't just immediately be again. I think he's still got all of the credentials to be a good player.
Oh, no doubt. Still early into his career as well, and maybe FUT is the perfect springboard for him. And again, here we go, a fast, aggressive, just straight up dynamic push onto the site, and they're gonna catch Youngster with a nade out. Did not anticipate this whatsoever. Oh, but Nilo stands his ground and delivers 2 deaths. That's huge.
There's still a flank coming in. Jukes with another good headshot, but they don't know about the fact that Sementry's walking through that smoke. Nilo, he's thinking about it. He's actually got the right read. That's very smart. Heads up play and a triple kill for Nilo. And again, FUT, they're not just taking the bomb site. Their plan, you can tell, is to rush A and then actually flank around through into Donut and catch the CTs off guard. Which you can tell, I mean, for Youngster, like you said, it worked on one of their players, but at the same time, you've got to wonder what happens if they slow it down instead and just actually plant the bomb. Jukes. It's unlikely, but he's on a 1 versus 2 here.
He's anticipating a rotation as well. He's very sort of paranoid about a potential flank, and understandably so, but decides to actually pull the plug. And he's got out of there. More than enough time to go plant on the B site, and if he can get this one down quickly, then he can start to rotate and reposition into good post-plant spots. This round is far from over.
I hope we get to see him play. I hope he gets to reload the gun. He only had 7 bullets in, so presumably he will have done that by now, but he is a sick player. See if he's ready to fight this one. They're going to peek almost at the same time. He keeps on spraying. It's a couple of headshots for Jukes. Fantastic round from the young Lithuanian. I love to see that.
4 kills, 1v2, and somehow gets FUT to a 4th round. Just a few moments ago, it was 7-2. It looks so one-sided after a flub post-plant from FUT. But here they are. That's the kind of individual brilliance and prowess that you've been talking about, being excited watching this team once again in full display. And it looked like it is just over. Nilo's double in Donut with a triple on top of it. Felt like that was the round-winning moment, but Jukes had other ideas.
It's such a great read.
Nice, Jukes! Nice! Insane, Jukes. Let's go!
That is the kind of energy that I love. This is sick Counter-Strike. You know, it's early in the morning, but I feel absolutely awake right now because both teams have shown up. There's no hesitation. Everybody's ready to fight and try and clutch every single round. Awesome. Round number 12, last of the half. And we're going to see AWP back on Hades. There's one on Cemetery as well. But other than that, on the CT side, they are lacking some of the weapons that we'd love to see.
Yeah, it's pretty grim, isn't it? And what's kind of frustrating as well is, like, we know what Hades is capable, but it just doesn't seem like he's had any chances, Anders. Like, he's been choked out. Maybe it's because of this super aggressive T side that we've seen. That is a big counter to Orbs, but here we go. This time he repositions up on close in Cave, and he gets his Man of Demon before pulling the plug and getting out of there.
Oh, this is interesting. I think 4 rounds is enough to try and save FUT. If they can get a fifth, though, that would be huge. Duke's set up in position. He guesses that someone could be here, but oh, he makes a big assumption. He thought, all right, that's it. I've checked most of it. And Nilo hiding in the middle. You don't actually see that too often. There are so many other common spots for CTs to hide in. Cemetery, a lot of damage here. Youngster dancing around. He occasionally comes back for more. I have no idea why, but he's going to end up going down, and it's a 3v3 with Hades alone and very exposed in this position. They're going to come for him. He tries to do the spin, ready for the ramp as well. I don't know how he's getting the kill, but he will take down Lonks, and Krabeni finally ending the run of the Polish Orpa there. So Nilo and excl 2v2. There's still 40 seconds. They're going to run back to A. This is great.
Another really good heads-up call in the heat of the moment. And it has worked a charm. There's no way that Heroic are going to be able to read this in time. Nowhere close enough to stop the plant. But more problematic than that is you're now coming through a bit of a bottleneck, claustrophobic couple of angles, and you have no idea where the two Ts are. A bit of utility across the two of them, though. A smoke and a flash as Nilo tosses his one up. But another problem here is that you don't possess a hit right now between the two players, but a huge headshot from Nilo, who moves to 14 frags, putting all the pressure on Cemetery, and he will pull a page out of Dukes' book and clutch down a 1v2 with a double spray of his own.
Okay, then. I think he heard the jump up on the box. He was pre-aiming the top of that angle. That's so rare, but absolutely disgusting. And you're right, kind of almost like an echo of what Dukes was doing earlier. That is, what a sick first half here. 7-5, and that's in spite of the fact, again, just to remember, FUT won the pistol, and then they tried to just go incredibly aggressive round after round after round, and kept it going forever and ever. So, oh, was it? Wait, was it Jokes? I've completely confused. Did they win the pistol or not? Help me, Vince. I have to immediately questioned myself.
Yeah, they did.
They did, and then lost. Right. I'm not completely.
And then
crazy.
they went down 5-1. Yeah, you're not going crazy. It's fine.
All right, there we go. Nice. But yeah, so they won the pistol, and then obviously they tried for so many aggressive rounds afterwards, and that didn't really work out. Heroic were just ready beyond what anyone was expecting. So let's go.
Let's go, guys.
I'm not even playing the game, and I'm hyped up for this. It's a game.
Bro's getting lightheaded. He's screaming so much. Love it. Yeah, and obviously he's the IGL. He's the guy that needs to rally the troops. And yeah, so it's been a really interesting first half, right? Because I think Heroic team-wise have probably been the better of the two squads, but individually FUT have had the more impactful rounds. But here we go. Second pistol coming straight up. Can FUT dial in his second one and give themselves a huge advantage here on Ancient? It is their choice of map. Would love to get this one dialed in, this best of 3. But Heroic slowing down the pace, but they're taking real estate ever so quickly through Cave.
Yeah, this is going to be really quick. Oh, what a great timing on the smoke. Just throws it right in front, the underhand. And then he's got the dualies out to take down Nilo. That kill immediately makes Heroic question whether or not it's actually worth it to keep on going. There's also a player in middle. Jukes is starting to get a little bit closer. Got to be careful if he lands a shot. It might be the round over, but he unfortunately gives up his life instead. Not what you want to see. excl waiting for them. Execution onto Krabeni. Next up is Cemetery, and Demon trying to recover is not going to be enough. I can't believe it, but FUT, they actually had the advantage there, but they wanted to fight just like on the T side. Wait a minute. Did he just drive by in his car and just shot Hades? He didn't even stop moving then. Lonks trying to get closer. They really don't know how to not fight. None of these players. They're all ready for it all the time.
Hey, I mean, listen, this might give the coaches a heart attack, but it's super entertaining to watch, and if nothing else, I'm having a good time. This is popcorn Counter-Strike right here. And yeah, you're absolutely spot on. Lonks absolutely nails him. Full transit on the wide swing. But there were 3 players left, and as we saw at the end, that 2-player stack on site was too much. excl doing incredible work, though, in the cave. You highlighted him as well. Was kind of left on the periphery with all these Turkish roster moves, but showing that he is certainly not a player to overlook.
Just got rollerblades on, Lonks. He's not even stopping for that kill. It's so absurd. Wow. Still, for Heroic, winning the pistol here is a great step in the right direction. This can be a tricky map sometimes to get into on the T side, especially if you are unable to fight in middle, which some teams find it very tricky to try and get through some of the early CT utility. If you fail that, you can start to run into some trouble. So it's a nice bonus for them. A lot of smokes in this one. So presumably FUT are hoping here that Heroic will play a slow round, and then if you're slow enough, 1 or 2 smokes towards the end of the round can absolutely be devastating for the T side. So once we get close to like the 40-second mark, those smokes become very, very valuable for FUT.
And stacking together as 4 also affords you the luxury of having a bit more confidence to hold on to them that little bit longer, as opposed to being alone. A bit of a rough spray from LNZ, but doesn't end up mattering a great deal. Youngsters there to follow up. The sacrificial IGL entry roll comes good, but Lonks is still a real threat to contend with. Hades though on point with the Khalil before, rapidly spraying into the smoke and taking Demon with him. And surely with it, a 9th round.
It's got to be right. Dukes in the smoke here, comes out. It's a nice idea. Wanted to try and catch them off guard, but great couple of kills for Hades. That second shot on Demon looked very robotic. That's cool. But yeah, in spite of a little bit of a scary moment, and they didn't even get to throw some of the smokes. I think the timing, unfortunately, for FUT, they didn't realize that somebody was on the B ramp until it was too late to throw out any smokes. So they had them exactly like you'd want it. They just couldn't even do anything with them. So 9-5 though, the scoreline. Heroic continue to battle on through. Nilo and excl top of the board at the moment.
A real collective effort as well. Everyone 10 or more. Hades just 6 deaths in the round 15. LNZ's been really putting in a lot of work as well, typically towards the bottom of the scoreboard. And for those of you that are also tuning in and kind of confused, why is Hades playing? Alcarin couldn't make this event, so he is a stand-in right now. A great opportunity for Hades individually. Nilo, in the meanwhile, though, is sneaking up onto the site. He's going to get trying to drawn away on fire, and the USP close range will dispatch of him. However, it's a ruse. A site is the final destination that's been painted with a target, and Heroic now making moves towards it, but they have lost a lot of health and players in the process.
Yeah, there is definitely a way to give up this round. What a luxury it would be for FUT if that was possible. Dukes, unfortunately, as he's running away around the corner there. excl gets to stay alive. Deep grenade surely going to land right on top of him with no armor. That's going to be really painful. But like you said, low health, and Hades goes down to a single deagle bullet. Can't quite find Youngster. He just keeps on staying alive, and it's obviously going to be a 10-second defuse here, so they need to get on that right now if they even want a chance of it. Cemetery trying to negotiate this one, but the aim punch is too much, and Youngster will end up getting 3 of them towards the end, putting Heroic a little bit closer to victory.
Yeah, making Heroic sweat for that one a little bit, but they will dial in the W, and that's all that really matters at the end of the day. They're on the T side. The economy's not really a problem anytime soon, and have hit the 10-5 mark. This isn't necessarily do or die for FUT, but it feels like it's very close to it. You're 10-5 down. You finally got a really solid buy at your disposal. You cannot afford to let this one slip through your fingers. The pressure's certainly swelling here.
Yeah, the big round coming up here. What an exhilarating game this has been. I'm so hyped up that these two teams are playing at the very start of the day. Going to be rushing up the ramp once again towards the B side, and Demon in position. Very scary though. Nilo's got his angle covered, and he wanted to try and throw out a smoke, but he just could never really do it. Duke's going to get a couple of kills, but Nilo shows up ready for Cemetery. What a great read. He might have just single-handedly won the round. He got the entry, and then he went deep behind enemy lines. Lonks through the smoke. Oh, he actually gets to go through. I have no idea how. He should have been dead the second he stepped through that smoke. They have no idea that he's here. Crouching, and it doesn't matter. Hades will find the headshot, but it's all Nilo all the way. 17 kills, and it might have just won the map for Heroic here.
Yeah. It does feel that way, doesn't it? It's not necessarily complete curtains just yet, but it really has snipped away their economy to a point where the firepower in this round is going to be so bleak. I think I saw a couple of FAMAS getting picked up there just before we switched to see Nilo's masterclass once again. And it was one of those questions, you know, when Tania was lost, when Grix also was taken, Sun Pius has also been plucked away from this squad recently within the last half a year. It was who's going to step up to the plate and who's going to deliver to be that main star threat. Well, off this performance and off many before this, Nilo seems to be that guy. Great work from him, like you say, opening up the round, but also closing it. Kind of being this multi-purpose tool to use for any particular possibility that you could need him for. That's got to be so fun for LNZ to IGL a player like that with so many capabilities.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a luxury position, isn't it? Just finally getting him online after a tumultuous time in a couple of different ways. There were so many different weird rumors about, but you see him in the server here, and it's looking really good. So wonderful stuff. Long's going to be burned out of the corner, but he's got Jukes with him. They want to fight in the middle. The flashes are coming over. It's great utility. It is the classic protocol for getting into the middle. Those flashes from T-Spawn, it's Hades that's throwing them over. You can see him assisted even on the kill on Krabeni there. It's just such a hard thing to try and stop. If you get close enough to the wall or close enough to the T entrance to middle, you can dodge the flashbangs. But the problem is if you're out in the open, you're going to get caught by all of the flashes. And in spite of the fact that they do some damage here, it's not enough. So all down to Demon and Cemetery. It's the last bit of cash that they have right now, FUT. So everything has gone horribly wrong. In spite of that, I think they've been playing a sick game. I've been so entertained. But in terms of the rounds, it's Heroic running away with this right now.
Yeah, I think FUT's playing it like a 7 out of 10 maybe. But it's just, they ran into a Heroic that's in this like superiorly kind of just crazy form. How do you deal with it? Well, they're going to try their best to with this Incendiary. Could very well finish off Youngster. Smoke went down, and Nilo again just takes the headshot so fast on the draw. And even if he were to fall, Hades is in aim, but he's not required. Nilo wants that 20 bomb before this map is done. And it's looking like it will be momentarily. 7 map points on FUT's choice of Ancient.
So obviously, for those of you who don't know, FUT ended up taking down FaZe in the opening best of 1. I think the kind of game plan that FUT are coming in with, I guarantee you this will work against a lot of top-level teams, because this is actually very hard to play against. The only problem is Heroic are exactly the kind of team that want to play this kind of Counter-Strike anyway. If this is what I talked about with the energy on somebody like Youngster. If you come at him with this kind of stuff, he will love it. He will be into it. And so I think, unfortunately, the game plan when it comes to someone like Heroic, they're not going to be surprised or they're not going to be shocked and awed by any of this. They'll just say, oh, sick. Are we playing essentially like an FPL kind of speed Counter-Strike? Let's go. You know, they love that stuff. So, so it might be backfiring a little bit here. A little bit too much towards the home ground of where Heroic want to be at the very least. Pushing into the A hallways, by the way, as we're talking. They are looking to take some position here. They need to take some risks, right? Because they have so little to work with in this round.
Yeah, exactly. When you have the lesser firepower, lesser utility, you've got to try and even the odds and get a bit of equilibrium some way, even if it means that you have to impose it on the enemies. However, Heroic, the way they're stattering, they know this is a possibility. Demon, meanwhile, though, is going to be called upon because here come Heroic, looking to try and take the last round of this map.
Bomb already in hand here. Demon hoping to find the right angle through. It's just all gray at the moment. Krabeni gets a kill. That's important. Comes around the corner for a second one, but Hades locked up against the wall. Quick for a double. It's 1 bullet from a triple, but it'll be Lonks instead. Mid-air with the MP9 to take the kill, and now Lino alone against 2. Can't get the job done this time. They've asked a lot of him, and he's up to 20 kills in total here, but this time FUT will get another one. And you know what? They've already made one absurd comeback in this tournament. I say, just do another one here. Win the next 6 rounds, and we're good to go.
That is a good point. These guys are not short of resilience and gusto and grit. Like you say, they showed it against one of the tournament favorites in FaZe yesterday. Why not? The way that Heroic have been playing, I don't think they're going to let another 6 rounds slip, but FUT have got to make sure that they just keep going. definitely a solid powerhouse team. The one downside for me is like Demon's not had a great game, and he's typically up there as one of their better players. So we know that they've got an extra gear to shift through if Demon starts to wake up here.
Yeah. Ooh, utility in the middle is devastating, but it doesn't even matter. They actually come through and win. Look at the health on LNC and excl. But that's the power of those counter flashes coming out. Nilo's going to get Krabeni. That looked like it was that looked like the round was lost almost immediately. They ran into 2 grenades and almost killed 2 people with them. excl now ready to go. Demon trying to find him, but who even cares? They've got grenades for days, tossing him at the back. Demon running through. Oh, he's going to spray them down before the bomb is even planted. That's sick, but he's still going to get shot in the back. Nilo is here, and Demon's got no idea. 1 bullet to take the round, and the map goes to Heroic.
Man, what a fun game of Counter-Strike. You know, like sometimes you come out with 13-6 and it's been a slaughter, or it's been a bit of a dull one. Loads of saves, loads of passive sort of rounds. That was just awesome to watch from both teams. I don't even think that FUT played horribly there. Like typically when a team comes out with only 6 rounds, you think, right, they got
way through. I think FaZe won their game against Bait just barely. It was a crazy match.
Second map was multiple OTs. I think the third map, they did get it pretty cleanly, 13-5, so they survive. Obviously, they haven't actually advanced yet because they lost their first game against FUT, who's on our screens right now. And so they will have to play another game, I think, tomorrow to see if they make the playoffs or not. We also have Lynn Vision, who are battling with the opportunity to get to that stage in front of a home crowd, and TYLOO is still in the tournament as well, as far as I'm aware. So a lot of exciting things, but in the here and now, map 2 is about to get underway.
Yes, indeed. Starting on the T side, Heroic and FUT are going to be on the CT side for the second map here. They do have a kit on the CT side, but no smoke. And a couple of flashes as well. Presumably, yeah, they're up on the sniper spot, up on the high ground. So Demon was going to be able to flash. If they were going to rush the bomb site here, then there would have been flashes ready. But they're going to delay the rush instead, just long enough for Demon to not be there. So this is actually great timing. Heroic, they might have found exactly the gap that they needed. Here come the shots, though. Krabeni with a couple of headshots to bring down excl and Youngster. The bomb is being interrupted. Long stare to catch them, and a headshot onto LNC. What a great swing back into the round here. And FUT are looking to take it, and they will, with Krabeni kind of the superstar weirdly on the first map, and also coming into the second one with great pace.
Yeah, full house of kills. Krabeni with 3 and Lonks with the 2. I'm hearing some typing, so I assume there is going to be a tech issue here called in. But FUT picking up the opening pistol once again. They'll be hoping that history doesn't repeat itself, because if you remember back on Ancient, or those that didn't manage to catch that one, FUT won the opening round. They then lost the next 5 in a row on their CT side. So they have to make sure that lightning does not strike twice. However, no bomb plant means like no real options here for Heroic. It's like realistically, P250, maybe a Deagle. There's not really much else to play with.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up. It's something that it almost goes by the wayside. Now, it's weird, right? Because we always highlight when they get the bomb plant. We say, oh, they get the bomb plant, and that means like they're half the way there. But denying the bomb plant, I guess, but logically has to be just as important on the other side. And I think it really can be. It gives you a little bit more runway to kind of warm things up. Especially because, weirdly, some of those buys now, when you get the bomb planted, they're better on the T side. So you can do a lot with it. But yeah, we got Nilo briefly disconnecting, back into it again. I think on day 1, we had some issues where there was some Steam connection issues, Steam verification stuff going on. So it could be something like that. But hopefully it's going to be less and less. The admins are on it. They're working hard.
Yeah, I think that was GamerLegion, and it was ZTR and PR that were having the issues, if I'm not mistaken. The Steam connection problems, like you highlighted. So, yeah, hopefully that is a little bit of a thing in the past. I mean, obviously, Valve has pushed out a couple of patches, which is always a bit of a nightmare for admins.
The C4
update.
At
Events. Yes, yeah. What do you think of that, by the way? I guess this is a good segue for you to kind of pick your brains on this. I know you were a thinking man when it comes to Counter-Strike. You like to get into all the smaller details, the finer print.
I mean, I feel like in like a tier 1 level Counter-Strike, so where, you know, obviously where we end up spending most of our time. I mean, not me playing tier 1 at all, but watching it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to try and sell myself that hard, but I would say it's probably a bit of a downgrade. I think there are some scenarios that are just no longer going to be possible for people to fake out the bomb and kind of go back and, you know, take some shots or whatever. I think for for getting new people into the game, it's probably I can imagine it's an enormous frustration thinking that you're running up to somebody to try and shoot them while they're defusing, and then they just like, you know, they quickly come off and scope you or something like that. So I imagine that I think Valve make a lot of the decisions based on the broader population, less than the esports segment of the game, and that's sort of my theory for what's happening here. So yeah, if you're on the esports side, you're gonna probably hate it. But you have to remember there's millions of players who never touch the esport, who just play the game for fun with their friends or randomly or whatever, and for them it might be an upgrade. Just saying.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very important point to mention. Is like, obviously from our perspective, it could have a bit of a nerfing effect in these 1v1s, you know, fake diffusing, etc., trying to draw out opposition. But you have to think of the wider player base, and ultimately from a business, that's more important, because that's going to be the kind of health of your game long term. Is you want to try and appease as many people as possible rather than a minority. I just didn't really see it as being a big problem, I think, Anders, is where I come from. Like, was it really that much of an issue that people were that triggered about? Like, it does seem a bit strange to me. And why now after all these years?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't figure out. But they typically, I don't know how many people know this, but typically Valve are sort of a data-driven company. So they try to look at, you know, at a lot of data before they make a lot of decisions. And so I'm guessing they must have had some sort of input from people, or just looked at some of those scenarios to say that's maybe there was an exploitable thing that was more exploited than I was running into. But I'm assuming that that's kind of the logic of it. Although I will say this on the esports side of things, right? Like, it's easy to guess at what might happen, but in reality, it can be very hard to sort of be correct about that. And you know, and it's possible that it feels like a downgrade, but actually turns out there are some new ways to play around when you're diffusing, and like there might be other kind of dynamics that you can use. Like if I know that there's a bigger chance that I have to sort of stick the bomb, then maybe that means I can play the after plant. I can fake out the plant in a different way. Like, I think there are a lot of new ways that are going to be played around. So it'll be interesting for sure. Like, I think it's subtly a really big change. Like, every time you're going to have a 1v1 now, it'll be I think fairly dramatic to figure out how do the CTs actually get out of that, and how, like, because normally you'd be able to fake like 2 or 3 or 4 times and kind of like try and take the fight, but presumably that's not going to be happening.
Yeah, my understanding is, for those people that maybe are listening and don't realize, like, aren't actually playing but just prefer watching, I think you can't aim down your scope anymore while diffusing, so you can't fake as if you're peeking someone with the AWP. And 150 milliseconds after you touch the defuse, you can't shoot for, which it doesn't sound like much, but that can make a difference in some circumstances. 150 milliseconds isn't like crazy amounts of time, but that's the gist of it, basically. So it does kind of nerf these kind of 1v1s to a degree, but it's not the end of the world, I would say, at least.
Yeah, well, as people in the chat are pointing out, trues don't fake anyway, so there you go, right about that. Here we are. Thank you for your patience. We're back into the mix, second round, second map. FUT winning the pistol and denying the bomb plant, which means there is not going to be too much of or any kind of a buy here. I feel like very often now in modern day Counter-Strike, even in a round like this one, where they don't get the bomb plant, there's still going to be like 2 deagles or something in play just for the hell of it. But surprisingly respectful here, Heroic, trying to keep it cool. Wow, destroying my room at the same time. Sorry about that.
You just heard the trash can of FUT CT side on Ancient. It's no problems. Exactly. Either way, Heroic haven't really upgraded much, as we highlighted. Didn't really have enough. Youngster had 2,300. He's invested in the $300 P250. And he is pretty much the only player that you'd expect to get any kind of success in this round. They're going to be taking it slow, trying to draw out as much utility as possible from FUT by just taking every second allocated. Can even treat this as a mini tactical timeout for the next one as well, of course, and figure out where to go. Any kills would be huge here. A bomb plant would be outrageous. I just don't see either of those coming to fruition, Anders. This is going to be a shooting gallery, surely. It should be. The M4 kind of worries me in this position with the bullets, but Cemetery with the FAMAS. Oh no, that is such a slip up. Now the M4 has been given over. Hades finding another couple of kills with a stolen rifle. The bomb is going to be planted. Oh, that's a nice grenade though. Kind of a classic for this map. But it's a 2v2, and they're running into the crossfire here. Burst comes out. Demon just saving the day with 11 health left at the end of it. FUT, they very nearly messed up that round completely. Oh man, I'm talking about like a kill would be huge, a bomb plant outrageous. They nearly just outright win the round. They've destroyed the economy of FUT early on. Sure, they saved the M4 after getting the clutch, but they're not going to have much else to play with. And Heroic, a bunch of cash to use. It's such a sloppy round by FUT though.
Yeah.
Like, how can you justify losing that many players and nearly losing the round overall?
I hate the position with the M4A1. One, like, he's always going to be peaked really close. I would hate it less if he was actually active on the corner, but there's just so much about that that I didn't enjoy. And then the FAMAS behind, sure, it's also holding long, but they didn't even have a crossfire. If you have two people on the bomb side, why can't you even help each other out? There's so many things to criticize about that setup to begin with, so hopefully that's a wake-up call for FUT, though, and we'll see if they can, you know, if they can come back and win this round. It's all good. It's all forgiven. They are already falling back in this. We had this conversation last time, I think, Vince, and I'm going to just repeat it now for people who weren't watching the last Overpass game yesterday, but this whole stretch that we're seeing excl walk up now is A-long, and you don't have to do it every time, but it's really beneficial on the CT side if you can make the T's respected so that they can't just walk here without using a lot of utility. You want them to use flashes like this corner, but you want them to do it earlier. You want them to grenade their way through long so that you can hear them and that they're slowed down.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about just taking a big bite out of that overall timer. And there's still 45 seconds to play with. And they're going to be able to wrap around it. They can even fake it because they also have con control. Symmetry, though, is going to go in with his AWP, but Nilo strikes back. And now this is where the problem comes because the in-flank is taken from Heroic. And they're getting up close as well. Symmetry still putting down the pressure, though, with the AWP. As bullets whizzing by the head of excl, takes a bit of damage, but it's not going to stop the bomb from getting planted.
Yeah, nice work so far. 3v3. Duke's trying to get through, but excl is holding that. No problem. You are right, though. You can easily shoot through that box, but he's not going to be able to find it. I did actually think this was a smart plan, I think, for Krabeni and Symmetry to just go towards the restrooms and ignore that long position because they weren't going to be able to find it anyway. So just you know, ignoring that and clearing that was a good idea. But unfortunately, the rest of the people coming in from that bank and stairs area were not able to really do anything. So really well done. Heroic making good on the damage they did in the last round. There's going to be one saved AWP, which is pretty dangerous on a map like Overpass, to be honest. But, you know, it can't be everywhere all at once. So we'll see if Symmetry can find the right position.
Doing his absolute best there on bathroom banana side. Wiggling past two players, taking both of them down. Bit of a pause again here so they can figure out where to go from this position. But this is really where that previous round, losing 4 players, really bites them in the ass because you have nothing else to play with. You are in effectively double eco territory here at this stage. You may have to force behind that AWP. And that sucks this early on in the half. If they decide to tap out, of course, with the new ecosystem and CTs, if Symmetry can get himself some kills, that could kind of bolster their buy into the next one. But, I mean, this is a really unenviable position if you're on the side of FUT, Anders, and it's kind of their own fault. Like, you were against a full eco, $300 investment against a P250, and you lost 4 players and nearly lost the entire round.
Yeah.
And this is the reverberating consequences of those actions.
Yeah, it is definitely a tough position to be in here. FUT, second round on the board, but quickly shut down afterwards. And they're going to invest around it. I mean, it's not too bad, I suppose, doing this. But it will be bad if they lose everything. But if they lose 3 players and they can save the M4 and the AWP, it's kind of still workable. I don't know if there would have been a much better choice, to be honest. So I don't hate this for the CT side if this is what they're going for. Looks like we're going to be restarting the round once again. So maybe a little bit of a hiccup on the server before we get back into it. So yeah, slight pause in the action before we can resume. But that's a massive round coming in from Heroic, and I'm sure that they're going to be hoping to really make a run at it here. This could be a hard map to play on the T side anyway, so if Heroic actually do pick up a lot of these rounds at the beginning from winning that 3rd round, that could be really big for them.
Well, the runway's been cleared. They are cleared for takeoff. It's whether they want to go ahead with it or not. really Heroic have all the options available. I am curious at that point that you raised in the previous round about long control and would FUT try and make moves for it. They're in that weird economy right now where maybe Heroic will anticipate some kind of an aggressive push as well. So maybe this isn't the time. It just goes back and forth, this kind of reverse psychology between the two teams, like a ping pong table, back and forth, returning each other's serve.
I mean, on Ancient, they had no problems going aggressive, even if it was anticipated. So I almost feel like just follow through FUT and go for it. I'd love to see them push out towards even the playground in a round like this one, where you've got your P250s, maybe a Deagle or something. I think those are good rounds to try and do it in. The fact that they're expecting it, yes, maybe they're going to be a little bit more ready, but those fights, the whole point of them is that from the CT point of view, you have such a broad angle, whereas all the Ts are coming up out of the stairs towards the playground. They are in a natural sort of choke point, so you should have some advantage anyway, especially with a couple of good flashes going over the wall or whatever. So I think it's still a fun idea. I like it if they can try and do it. So, and it also means that you could probably play with the M4 and the AWP towards the B bomb side, and just kind of, if there is a rush there, maybe you could do a little bit of work from the high ground. So I think it's not a crazy plan. But yeah, apparently we are waiting for everything to get reset. Looks like we've lost some of the weapons, so the match medic will be put into play. I'm surprised at how well that works, by the way, these days. I don't know if you remember in the past events, like early on in CSGO, how rough it was when the match medic failed and you just couldn't get the round back, and you had to try and, like, people had to manually rebuy the same things, and it's just a total mess.
They had to, like, rebuy the same things, then the same people had to kill each other, but, like, orchestrate it all, and it would take, I very much remember those days. I'm happy that that's a thing of the past. Definitely not a nostalgic part of CSGO for me, but I was going to set you up, actually, Anders, because you talked about this before, and obviously the fast pace of Ancient didn't really allow us to discuss too much about the teams, but you did say that you had a whole thing written out about Hades, and you wanted to discuss him a little bit. So do you still want to do that, or is this not the right time?
I mean, no, it's a great time for it. I really think Hades has got something. He's got like a certain X factor about him, but he just suffers from the same thing that all AWPers of his style suffer from, which is that because his flicks and his abilities sometimes just look so nutty that you just think, oh, this is it. Like, he's going to be, you know, another kind of Monacy or whatever. He will test it, like he will get, you know, 2 good flicks, and then he'll go for a third or in the fourth, and then it fails, and you lose the round, and then the problem is, once that happens enough times, your confidence is just massively beat up. So I think there's a version where Hades corrects his game like 10%, and then he becomes, like, you know, 40% better than he is now. But you can almost see it in his eyes when you're watching him play sometimes, that you hit that moment where he's got like 1 or 2 good flicks, and then he just wants to commit to fighting more, but it's not helpful. You've already won the round with the first couple of kills, so like going for more now, the classic risk versus reward just is not worth it. It's like, yeah, the upside is you get like 1 more kill on the scoreboard for yourself, but the downside is you might lose the whole, you know, round and the map and everything else behind it. So yeah, I've seen him make those kind of choices very often, but I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's a super sick player myself. And I've seen so many AWPers that follow that very same pattern. That's why, just to really make a reference here, that's why what happened to Brokey in his brief timeout with FaZe was so sick, because Brokey, in my mind, is exactly the same kind of person. You know, it's maybe Brokey's clutches are more crazy than Hades. I'm not going to say that they're exactly on the same level, but in general, it's the same kind of weakness, and I feel like Brokey's fixed that now that he's back on FaZe.
This is going to sound like a weird thing to kind of go off the back of what you just said there, but Hades and the reception to him shows me the almost double-edged blade of fandom when it comes to how people in sort of the CS sphere and fans react to players. When he was playing well, and I'm going to go back to his Ents days, when you had Diha, you had that bunch of players, and they were going huge. They were getting big runs at like Katowice and other tournaments as well. When Hades showed up, people were saying he's like one of the best AWPers in the world. Give him a chance at any tier 1 team, he's going to absolutely destroy. And when he had a bad game, he was like the worst AWPer in the world. Never touch AWP again, drop him immediately. And I noticed that more, I think, for him, more so than pretty much any other AWPer that I can recollect. It was so Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. It was so crazy, the back and forth. And I always wonder, like, what kind of effect that has on some players. When you're the hero one day and then you're the villain the next day, based off someone's perspective of how well or not you played. And, of course, the weird thing is that that's only one element of a team play. Like, if you're an AWPer and you're not being set up correctly, or you have players around you, pieces around you that are failing, then you're going to get wrecked. It's a very difficult role to do well when your team is, for want of a better term, sucking. So it's just one of those weird things that I picked up on when in his end stays in particular.
Yeah, and I think it happens to AWPers more than it does to other players, because typically the AWP kills can be so flashy and explosive that draws the community in, and then when they get disappointed, it goes the other way. I will say this though, I think it's important if you are that kind of, you know, momentum hype-based AWPer, that you also know when to stop buying it in a game. Like there are going to be some games where maybe you're just not going to be as impactful, like the flicks aren't working on that, you know, for a couple of rounds, and then sometimes I think it's worth it to just concede that weapon. It depends on the map, obviously. If you're playing on Overpass or Dust 2, maybe it's a big downgrade, but there are other maps, I think, where you could definitely say, like, if you're on an Inferno, like, if you're not hitting those flicks, then stop trying and just, you know, buy a rifle instead. You're going to probably be fine. And forcing yourself to continuously try and hit those, you know, high FPS flicks is probably going to be pretty tricky. So, yeah, it's definitely a challenging role to be in. I think, like I said, I haven't really given up on Hades myself, but you're right. He's got a lot of potential pushback from the community at times.
And honestly, just to finish this point with Hades, obviously it looks like we got players moving around the server, so that's normally a good sign.
Yeah.
This is an amazing opportunity for him, Anders, because he was in Inner Circle before this pickup. Obviously, Alcarin couldn't make it. He comes in last-second substitute. His career, I don't want to say that it's like dropped off a cliff, but it's definitely stagnated quite a bit since those end stays.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so I think this is a phenomenal opportunity for Hades. If Heroic do go far, first off, maybe they have a decision to make. I think Alcarin's a really solid AWPer, but if Hades like MVPs this tournament and plays incredible and they end up winning or going to like the grand finals or something, is there a decision to be made there? Because he is an incredibly talented player.
Yeah.
But I think this is a great chance for him to put himself in the shop window as well, like to show that he's still out there. He can still perform at a high level, because he's 25, so he's not too old, but he's also not one of those up-and-coming rising AWPers. It's like 18. So he's in a very strange place in his career right now, I would say.
Well, that's an interesting point, right? Because we've seen this in the past where if you're on loan to a team, you are going to be really going all in to try and show that you know, here I am, like, you know, someone else should be picking me up. And also, it's kind of risk-free, right? For Hades, if they end up losing, like, it's not his team in some sense, so he can just say, well, you know, it didn't work out, but, you know, as long as I'm playing well. So I think there's less pressure, more potential reward. Definitely a good motivating spot to be in general. And, you know, because the rest of the Heroic team seem to be fitting well around him, it's all kind of sliding into place at the moment, which is definitely exciting. Yeah, we're not 100% sure what's holding up the server at the moment, so, you know, we'll give you any information as soon as we've got it for sure. I'm noticing in the Twitch chat plenty of crazy theories about what's happening, so, you know, keep them coming. Why not? Someone said that the hotel internet's been hacked by the mafia, so that's very specific. I don't know if you have more information than we do, but I like the idea at any rate. Somebody was saying earlier that
Twitch chatter.
Look, somebody was saying earlier that the bank where like all the money is behind, that's all of Valve's money that's in the bank. And you need a much bigger bank.
Yeah, that's Valve's money within a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
like, they've got a lot more money than that.
Here we go. I think we're officially back. It's round number 4, and look at Salmon Tree pushing out towards the playground. I love the idea. Now, smart jump. He does get tagged anyway, but xCloud making sure that he doesn't peek straight into the AWP.
They are going to be kind of mob mentality pushing out in short. They do get a 1-for-1. The 5-7 coming through well, but LNZ turns his back, shields away from the flash just in time. And although Nilo may go down, the player advantage maintains for Heroic. And they'll be already thinking, oh, I was going to say, already thinking about pulling Symmetry out of this one to save the AWP again, but he's fully committed. He drops down onto the site, and there's no way for him out. You'd have to backtrack all the way across. But Lonks has got the kill on excl.
This is so all in. Oh, he actually hits the shot onto LNC, but Hades to the rescue once again. Quick headshots, and he'll steal the AWP into the next one. That is crazy. I'm just as shocked as you were. How does he jump into that fight with the AWP? But again, it kind of shows you the mentality of this FUT team, and I kind of love it. Is it always going to be the smartest play here? Maybe not, but at least to give them a chance to win the round.
And it's not a case either that, you know, the reason, and one of the many reasons I thought he was going to save is because their money is going to be absolute garbage in this round, right? So, like, if they could bounce back into another full buy, whatever, but you're now into an eco, and the damage that you inflicted is not really worth it. Yeah, a couple players are low, but the T's have been consistently getting bomb plants down. They know your economy is garbage in this round, so they're just going to be sitting back and waiting, and Youngster may find himself in the thick of it against 4 players. But he is just playing super passive. Now wants to watch for the door push. He knows his teammates are already on B. There's one kill, and where one CT will push, multiple should follow. 2 kills, but an AK does trade hands.
Yeah, I was going to say he should be in a strong position, but they do the classic human flashbang. They throw the player around the corner, and that offsets the T side crosshair there, and then next player just perfect position for it. So super smart. Good protocols to at least get the AK. That's all they're going to get in the round anyway. excl holding T-spawn, and everything is settling in nicely. Heroic from winning that earlier round. Now they're going to have the round lead, 3-2. 1 AK taking over. But yeah, it's going to come back to haunt FUT potentially in the future again. Like, their economy still has to be built up quite a bit, and it'll take a while before they are fully up and running. So potentially a tough start on Overpass, all things considered. Like I said as well, Heroic on the T side, I think this is... You can get away with winning a couple of less rounds overall in the half. So already up to 3, I think it's a really good sign.
Terrorists win.
Yeah, and a little bit worrisome again for FUT because they did win the pistol. And so you're already thinking, right, these rifles are quickly getting out of control. This round's not great either. I don't know if they can even afford an AWP. I don't think they can. And considering how Symmetry's been really good when it comes to the AWPing around bathroom side, it's had quite a bit of impact already. That is a problem. It does mean they can facilitate a lot more grenades, though. So 4 incendiaries with a Molotov on Lonks. That's solid. Plenty to play with.
Going early with 3 people to the B bomb site, and then 2 that are going to be playing towards the front of A. Just throwing out 1 grenade there, and then they fall back into the corner. But I said earlier, I think it's a good idea to do that. Just slow down the T's a bit. Nice grenade through the door as well onto Youngster. So taking a bit of damage, but Nilo's already in this forward position by the L-bend. Very aggressive style, almost double peaked, and he can't quite give it back around the corner. Dangerous for Jukes to try and take that fight, but he's going to come out on top. They do badly need this round here, FUT. It's very important.
Yeah, this is huge. It is a really solid start, though, and with 2 players still in the bathroom, watching each other's backs. Smoke is put down. Lonk's going to capitalize. They're not sure Hades is here. He will pull the trigger in time. Lonks is sent packing. Still a minute on the clock, and Symmetry for them, meanwhile, is a little bit open, a little bit vulnerable, but there is a rotation coming through from Krabeni, so they should be okay for the time being.
Yeah, look at Jukes. He's in T-spawn, so I think that's why they were able to rotate on over. I hate this corner for Krabeni. I'm really not a fan of this one, but we'll see if they're going to try and flash it. So far, they're just walking into it. Shadow showing. Oh, it's a bit of a mess up for Krabeni. He could have been killed there, but he will at least get the 1. 2 versus 3, 30 seconds. And Jukes is all the way back in connector. He didn't actually keep going as fast as I was expecting. He's holding connector to try and make sure that they're not falling back, which is a real danger on this map, that the T's can fall back to the B bomb site. But they're going A right into Cemetery and Demon, and it will be another round for FUT here. And actually a very well handled one. They're going to pick up 3 AKs on the back of it. I think this is a big success.
I honestly think one of the key moments of that round was one that you were highlighting, Krabeni, when he started to get towards the flower bed there. I kind of feared the worst for him. A 1-4 trade was good enough. If he went down without any frags, though, that really would have put a lot of pressure on his teammates, somewhat needlessly. A good crossfire after it. And you highlighted the importance of that round for FUT, and they have passed it with flying colors. 3 AKs come out of the round on top of it. And although there's plenty of funds for Heroic, and they go straight back in with a buy of their own, FUT at least beginning to believe that they can stave off these rifles. They have 0 players on B right now as it stands. Jukes is way passive back at Graffiti.
Yeah, that's a crazy setup, especially for how often this B bomb site is pushed early and rushed. Nilo can't believe his luck. He's just alright, sick. There's nobody on the site. Let's go. Surely Jukes is going to be dead in this corner. Smoke's going around. They're not even going to fight him. They're just going to say, alright, that's it. To leave him alone. Finally, they get him. And LNC spins around, takes down Lonks. I was going to say they could have just smoked him off and left him in the corner for forever, basically. The bomb, not yet planted. They're finally getting into that now. LNC's going to go down, but he did take 3 people with him. Krabeni, I don't know how, but he's opened up the round again. How are FUT even competitive in this round? They should have lost it already. They should have been running to save the guns at this stage, but they've been let back in. Cemetery and Krabeni, if they win this one back, that would be criminal for Heroic, and Nilo's going to get caught off guard. It's the captain of the team now with 4 kills, looking for the ace to bring his team back, and he will get it, leading from the front.
And although the Molotov is down, they have a kit, so it's no problem. Yeah, the 2 IGLs in that round collectively got 8 out of the kills. In fact, they got all the kills in this round. Ridiculous. Like, nobody else pitching in. LNZ with 3, 5 for Krabeni. And I agree, it looked like this was done. As soon as LNZ takes down Lorks there, and the backside as they drop in, that felt like it was a done deal, but they start peeking one by one. Isolating themselves in these trades, no crossfire to be seen, playing kind of too passive, way too deep. What a weird round that is, Anders. And honestly, the bulk of the clutches in this series have gone the way of FUT, even though they find themselves a map down and barely in the lead on Overpass.
That is just so sick. Oh man, we wanted this kind of action to continue. We enjoyed it on the opening map over on Ancient, but yeah, we're getting more of it here now. The madness has returned. Just an example of the kind of boosts, although it is a scout that is in play, but you can definitely catch people off guard. For FUT, this is about controlling the game now. If you win this round, you probably get another one for free, and that would put you at a pretty sizable lead, you know, so a 6-3 lead if they can just win this one. So a lot riding on this, their own economy, the economy of Heroic as well. They are getting very close here, though. So within range, this is kind of like the staging area for a potential A attack. Nice timing on the smoke. Cemetery. Bit of a jump there. Krabeni now getting pulled into it as well, because they're checking down by the sewer tunnel for the rest of FUT. So they have a very good idea that there's nobody coming to the B-bomb site.
Replenish the smoke as well. Molotov behind it, just keeping Heroic away, but Cemetery maybe gets a bit too antsy. A bit overzealous and gets punished for it. Still 35 seconds and Haiti cracks open the site. No one else here to deal with the plant going down, and although Lonks does put in 2 and takes their attention away from the bomb plant momentarily, Jugs down on the dumpster side, needs to let Demon go and do what he does best, and that's frag out. Another kill goes by. They've stalled this bomb plant for so ridiculously long, but eventually Heroic take it with a close range headshot courtesy of a scout from excl.
That's not how I was expecting the round to end there. Man, I think Demon had a chance, though, to get both those kills. That's where you want to see him shine, right? He had the easy one in the beginning, but challenged and just taken down. That's going to be, I think, a little bit upsetting. Well played for Heroic. I mean, it's a sick round, but it's the same position that they were in earlier with the M4, if you remember, in that second round that they nearly lost. That close to the sign position is pretty treacherous. This time it was with the AWP, but there are so many ways that can go horribly wrong. And I think we're seeing a couple of them now. When the T, like from the T point of view, it's only your head showing, and it's so easy to catch the CTs with the full body because of the level difference there. So I'm not a big fan of it. People in the past used to boost a lot in that position. I don't even like the boost anymore. I just don't like that position at all.
Well, I think I've been a bit surprised with Anders, and we didn't see this yesterday either, that none of the CT sides on Overpass right now seem like they're comfortable enough to throw those early Molotovs in to stop the playground push. Now, this is a classic strategy you saw from CTs in the past, pushing up mid, Molotoving out on playground, stopping them from pushing early, and then taking early playground control and effectively dictating the pace from that point forward. Some kills come in, favoring Heroic as Youngster goes in on Connector. But I do wonder if FUT have that up their sleeve at some point, because it's not slowing Heroic down at all.
Yeah, that is a good question. We'll have to wait and see. Duke's getting tested now. Oh, this slow walk up from LNC. It's just so smart. I think his read of what was happening this round was very high level. There is a potential flank for Krabeni. I kind of wish that he had the kit instead, just to hope that he was going to be able to defuse last second, but kit is on Demon and he's a million miles away. So another round for Heroic. Already up to 5. I think they are in a beautiful position right now to take the second map. They've already done a lot of work here. We're not even at the end of the half yet, but yeah, well played for Youngster as well. That's the flick that he had at that towards the connector. That's a hard one to hit, I feel like, because you're sort of having to draw your mouse, I don't know, like down towards yourself. It's like one of the more natural positions, I think, to be in, but good job.
Yeah, I'm always really impressed when players are capable of flicking like vertically as opposed to horizontally in games like CS, because it's not a game that you typically have to do that very much in. Crosshair placement is such a key integral part of aiming in this. So I completely agree. When it comes to those quick flicks down, whether it be AWPing or indeed with the rifles, they always feel a little bit harder to land. So good job there, but yeah, this is getting to that point now where I think the alarm bell's beginning to ring a little bit for FUT. Yes, it's 5-4, it's close, but you are on the CT side of Overpass. You'd be expecting to pick up at least 7 or 8 rounds on this.
Yeah, that's the dream at the moment, and already it's looking very sketchy. 2 AKs, a couple of USPs. Going for a bit of a boost here. It could definitely be done. There are several ways to try and get a kill, but it looks like Heroic are not going to be offering themselves up anytime soon. Oh, is there one more boost on this side? It's another classic. I mean, there are a million boosts on this map. Some that have never even been tried, in my opinion. Oh, shooting him right in the toes. It's going to require a lot of surgery.
Painful, but not lethal.
True. Yeah, you've got 10 for a reason. You can spare a couple.
Yeah, exactly. They have spared excl, and that's not ideal. Youngster takes a bit of damage, and he gets finished off as well. The boosted up Krabeni doing work. Some really nice slight adjustments on FUT's CT side, and it's yielded so much in terms of success, and it really puts Heroic on the back foot now.
Just boost upon boost. That was the 3rd boost of the round. See if they got any more tricks up their sleeves. Historically, there have been some teams that have tried to win Overpass by just having an indefinite amount of tricks. Oh, Jukes, he's walking up behind them. Easy lineup for him, and now Nilo, no way out of this one. A 1 versus 4, completely encapsulated here towards the restrooms, and it's going to be Cemetery to take him down. But Jukes, obviously, with that flank is really what sealed the deal. But still, you saw the early boost damage, and then obviously the boost kill for Krabeni. It's one of the things that makes this such a sick map.
It's one of the things that makes Duke such an exciting player to watch, man. It always seems to be him on these long flanks, these rotations, being this pain in the ass of Heroic there. As you said, perfect timing up on connector. We've seen him already rotate all the way around through T-spawn. Didn't quite fully commit to it because his teammates started dying in bathrooms, but that is an annoying nuisance for Heroic to deal with, and it has actually had pretty severe consequences. They're into an eco of their own, so that 7-5 score I was talking about may not be too far away after all.
Yeah, it's suddenly within reach again. I was getting a bit nervous. I started to feel like maybe this is not going to happen for FUT, and it's with some sadness in the voice as well, because I really like watching both these teams play. I hope we get to see a 3rd map, but it's going to be up to FUT to show that they can actually get there. Do have the 3 AKs in this one, and Cemetery takes a slight risk. He's got some backup with him. This time it's not the M4A1 with the limited bullets. Oh, but he's already missed a shot here. Incendiary. They're trying to run through. They just want to take him down. I think that's actually a great play for Heroic. Just try and get that weapon away if you can. Nice grenade, though, and they will clean it up. So good backup from Krabeni and Lonks. Even if Cemetery, it's one missed shot, but when you're that close, it could cost you everything.
Another element that I think FUT are really good at that we don't often talk about too much, but it's like the way I think of this is in a scramble, when things get really chaotic, some players can keep their head and they just seem to be clutch. And I feel like FUT have so many players like that, you know, in amongst these smokes, in amongst these really awkward kind of like weird scrappy fights, they always seem to prevail in some way, shape or form. Sure, it's against an eco, but the way in which they kind of backed each other up and pushed through the smokes at the right timing, I think a lot has to be said about that one. That clarity and chaos kind of approach. Not every team has it. Not every player has that in their locker. It's not really something you can teach either. Yeah,
I think you're right. There are some things that are just kind of hard-coded into different players. Cemetery, that's close. Nilo, and he's the lone player in that 4-1 configuration for Heroic. So that will give up so much map space, and the fact that Krabeni's out long as well, he could almost catch the bomb. It's just going to be a second around the corner, but if he has that, the round is probably going to be over. They have such a great position right now. Jukes goes down on the A site, but let's see. Krabeni, he's a step away all the time. That's not the bomb, unfortunately. Hades goes down, but excl allowed to run in here and going to be planting in safety of long as well.
Oh, Lonks tried to deny the bomb plant. You could see what he was going for, but it's completely backfired, spectacularly so. And now 2 of the 3 players are actually stuck at the bottom, trying desperately to elevate themselves to heaven. But Youngster keeps them in purgatory for the time being. Krabeni coming through with one of his own. Up to 16 kills, by the way. He's had a phenomenal half. And how much you would like to christen the end of it with a 7th round. Symmetry's going to keep that one under wraps. Spray from Youngster. Wild, but connects and will also clutch out. One of the first clutches that Heroic have picked up, but it will secure a 6th round on their T-side half.
Oh, that's close towards the end. Could you just imagine? I think if they knew where Youngster was, then Krabeni wouldn't have been out in the open like that. He would have been on the bomb with the smoke almost immediately, but they just had no idea where he was towards the end there. So, great game. Tied up 6-6 as we go into the second half. And yeah, you're right. Krabeni again, 16 kills while leading the team. That is, he's putting in a real good amount of work here in this series. Hopefully, he can get some backup. I've been noticing, and we started, I think, the whole series talking about Demon and how he's, you know, one of the next guys up to maybe be a bit of a staff with the team. That's been proven dead wrong in this series so far, unfortunately. And I've noticed that the animals in chat are catching on, Vince. They've realized he's showing weakness, so now they hate him.
Kind of proving the point we were talking about earlier with Hades. Did you just refer to them as animals?
Yeah, I did. Listen.
Oh, you're going to definitely win them over, Andy. It's going to happen.
I know how to. They're my people. I know how to talk to them. Listen, when I'm not casting, I am myself one of those people spamming outrageous stuff in the chat. So it's a
one
thing,
of you,
you know?
chat. He's one of you.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. Second half, it's FUT versus Heroic. It's only the second series of the day. We've got a whole other best of 3 coming up after this one. MIBR and VP happening later today. Lonks, 1 kill just might do it. Nilo, you could see the panic on his face as he's trying to retreat from the restrooms. And not going to be happening. He gets taken down. The bomb's surely going to be planted. And there is Hades with a flank, but this is going to be very tough to do.
Yeah, super tough. And they need to get this first entry back onto the site as fast as physically possible. The kit is available, but it's the fact that Hades way out in the open is just being wasted. Time dwindling away. It's such an important kill as well because it would facilitate a quick push up through the dumpster, but because he just gets kept at bay and just stagnated out, now Youngster has to deal with the entire world pushing him. Really well played from Krabeni again, man. Like, the fact that he was able to stall Hades, who was kind of like the fire support, the artillery that was coming in, it did the world of good to the rest of FUT, and they can actually push and deal with the remaining CTs. Well done.
Oh, that's so frustrating, isn't it, for the dualies there on Hades, just trying his best to keep it alive, but not able to do so, unfortunately. So, will be a 7-6 scoreline. What a critical round here for FUT to pick up, and I kind of love everything about it. I love the push towards the bank here, making sure that the CTs can never really set up for any kind of a retake. Really well played round.
Well orchestrated, well constructed, and also well executed in the end. And our FUT have a chance to dial up the pace, dial up the heat. And Youngster gets burned away. The HE and Deagle work together in tandem to deal with 2. But still, The advantage, you would have to favor FUT on. They still maintain control of the bomb. They have the superior firepower on top of it. It is a little bit sketchy. There is a gap in that smoke, though. And that's going to allow Nilo to pick up the AK and have a quick peek. The cheek of the man to get the 2 kills on top of it. How has he got away with that?
That everything in you thinks that's such a bad idea. You know the gap is there. They can even see you picking up the rifle. It just seems like it's the worst decision you could have made. But you know what? When you get headshots like that, it turns out to be brilliant. He's even given over the rifles to his teammates, saying, "You can have this one, LNC. I'll get the Galil instead." Demon looking sad at the moment. Just 1 versus 3. This should have been their round all day, but Heroic. I mean, this could be map changing for them. This could be the way that they just win the map and deny a 3rd one. Super sick for Nilo. I was not expecting that. I was about to say this is not a good idea, but what do I know? Steeman sneaking in. He's still winnable, but it's very unlikely here. He's got the health for it. He's got the bomb on his back, crouching on through, but it's LNC not going to let his teammate down there. Nilo putting in the hard work and LNC finishing the job.
A cool bait and switch as well. Like, even if LNZ went down, Nilo was hiding behind the barrels, and you're never expecting 2 players to be stacked there like that. So he was a dead man regardless. But also, let's be honest, Nilo was the man of the hour on the first map. Up until that 3K and that ridiculous play he just pulled off, he was on 3 for 11, Anders. He had absolutely no impact whatsoever on this overpass. But now he shows up, and that is huge for Heroic's prospects.
Yeah, it is. They needed him. You're right. That's a good point. Bring him back online, and they certainly have. For FUT, you can see the frustration here. No bomb plant, obviously. They've invested everything into the round because they knew they were going to have to probably double eco. Oh, the grenade around the corner. No!
Oof.
That's a 5-man grenade. That actually doesn't happen that often. He hit every single person on the team. Nilo, see what he can do here. They're coming for him. Only going to be the double kill, but he did so much damage.
Yeah, and the only thing that saved them from taking a lot more was the fact they had Kevlar, because they have forced into this round. Yeah. And it's not going to yield anything. They get a kill on Nilo. They won't care about that. 8-7. And now basically nothing to use in this round for FUT. So from a really exciting prospect for FUT just a couple rounds prior to suddenly you're against so much. An uphill climb once again.
Really sick round for Nilo here. Everyone's excited. Youngstar almost getting let down on the high fives. Can't be doing that. Can't leave them hanging. This last round looked easy. This one should be even easier. The fact that they got 2 Galils, great weapons, obviously, with the extra bullets to spray down this many unarmored targets. Hades is kind of nearby. It's Nilo that's going to be creeping up through the connector as well, getting close. M4A1 in hand, and they do have Glocks. We'll see if they can. They could run him down, to be fair, but they're going to be sneaking right through. Shooting gallery. Oh, they're all coming for him, but the backup is going to be there. LNC goes down, and that's about it. So a couple of very, very clean rounds here for Heroic. They take a 2-round lead, but the economy is exploded. Look at the money they have on that CT side.
Yeah, the last 2 rounds, they've only lost 2 players. And LNZ, good guy teammate, man. Good guy at IGL, takes the bullets for Nilo, allows him to survive and thrive. Up to 15 kills. I mean, it's wild to me as well, Anders. Collectively, between the 2 IGLs, they are both top fragging on their respective teams and have 33 frags between the 2 of them. Like, what is going on here? The star players have been a little bit quiet, but the IGLs, they're battling.
I mean, it is kind of sick to see. It's obviously bucking the trend of what we normally expect out of an in-game leader, to be spending their resources on trying to, command the rest of the team, and that will typically make you a little bit less efficient when it comes to the mechanics. And not the case at the moment. It's good news, though. I mean, I think both LNC and Krabeni have this ability at times. So, yeah, if they can just add in somebody else here on the Heroic side. Nilo's certainly starting to get warmed up. If he joins in on the mix here, it just might be over for FUT, unfortunately. Still want to see Demon do some more work. He's not completely crashing out. He's got 7 kills, but we know that he could definitely do more. So now would be the time to really dig deep and try to find some of those extra frags here. Nilo traded out by Demon, just as we mentioned it. The bomb is on the ground here, and Hades, he gets the dink, but it's with the Galil. and he can't find the kill, unfortunately. So Krabeni and Duke's going to come back into the round. excl and Youngster now scrambling to get onto the A site, but Demon's already here and holding it, or maybe not. He does go down to excl running into it. Headshot from Youngster, now looking to see if he could find Krabeni as well and clutch the round for his team. Almost gets the job done, but instead, it's another triple and another clutch coming out from Krabeni.
So many clutches, man. Like, Krabeni at this stage he's got his teammates on his back. He's going to need a chiropractor after this game, the way it's going so far. The downside, though, for FUT is, like, yeah, you've got yourself around. It looks close on the scoreboard, but you haven't really made that much of a dent collectively in the CT economy. They're going to bounce right back into this with an AWP, 4 A1Ss, and you're kind of dropping down to still Galils and even a Mac 10 for longs. So you're giving yourself an opportunity. The door is slightly ajar, but you have to kick it open.
Round 18, and so much hangs in the balance here. LNC, I love this position again. I think it's so important on the CT side. It's the guessing game for the Ts, not knowing whether or not you're going to be there or not. And even if they want to go and execute on B, the worry that the CTs are pushing forward on the A side is always in the back of your mind. So it's just, it's a real fear game to try and see if you can set that up. Hades unable to get the flick. Exactly the kind of flick that he normally would get, so don't blame him for trying. But yeah, look, now they've fallen back. There's a timer on FUT to go for this B-bomb site. The longer they wait, the more panicked they're going to get, because for all they know, Heroic, just like LNC is doing now, is walking up behind them, and the closer LNC gets, the more people are going to be on B. The more Heroic are going to be super ready. They know what's coming.
Exactly, and they realize that. They're feeling the pressure, so they will just go ahead and pull the trigger. Demon through a flashbang and a smoke comes in, but there's excl with 2, and Hades also chips in for good measure. Suddenly 5 become 2, but those 2 players feature Krabeni, and the way he's been playing so far, you should not write him off. Try and deny the bomb plant, do a lot of damage through the smoke from LNZ, and he knows that Symmetry is stuck in this smoke and has to come out at some point. And as soon as he does, he's a dead man put on the deck, and Heroic pick up double digits.
Yeah, I think it's hard to blame FUT for what's going on here, but this is the big downside to giving up that A side of the map. There's so much doubt that's removed for Heroic. It's not necessarily even just about rotating more people into B. It's about how it feels to be a B player, knowing that the attack is imminent. Because a lot of the time you're just waiting and you're bored and there's nothing happening. You don't really know. It could be like the flashes could be coming in 5 seconds, or they could be coming in 35 seconds. You have no idea. But once LNC pushes up, you are going to be on high alert. You know that it's just a couple of seconds away. And it does make you play a little bit sharper. So overall, I think for FUT, it's dangerous to give up that part of the map. And I think it kind of backfired on them this one. Yeah, 10-8. Heroic, a couple of steps, in fact, 3 rounds away from winning this series.
Yeah, they are incredibly close, tantalizingly close. And this would be, by the way, them securing the playoffs, going directly into the playoffs, whereas FUT would have to go again. This is the Group B upper brackets. But in perspective, those of you that maybe didn't catch the previous games, I know it's very early for most of you in EU right now. The 2 teams beat FaZe and Bait, respectively, to get to this point.
Yeah, true that.
Hades again on close and could get baited out here. There is a boost up. Flix does land the shot, I think, but partially through the wall. So Symmetry's okay at 57.
Yeah, I didn't want to stick around and try to do any kind of double scoping or anything. Just send out the bullet now. It's taking up a new position. Could be a potential kill here, but now he's back to the next corner. They are there. I do love it. I think you said this yesterday, and it's a great way to describe Overpass. It's like a series of retreating battles. Yes. That's pretty much what we're seeing there for Hades.
Yeah, because there's so many, like, if you want to think of it in sort of like trench warfare, you take your shot from bathroom, you fall back to flower beds, or if you want to push up to pool, you then have bathrooms, etc., etc. So you're always falling back, and then you just see this boost in. I love it. Awesome. They got this secondary player as well on bathroom, so they knew they weren't getting pushed from that angle, so why not go for a boost-up shot?
This is really smart. You're absolutely right. Flash to slow them down. They've got more utility on the other side. Hades landing those bullets and swinging into the fight against Symmetry. The shadow showing it. Hades with a masterclass of around 18 kills and a quad kill in this one. And it was just spectacular work with the AWP.
Really nice from Hades, man. I can see he's just being unshackled and unleashed as well. Like, they clearly have so much confidence in his ability to go for these boosts. And because they had the safety net of bathrooms being under control and this was so one-dimensional from FUT, they could feel enough reprieve to go for these kinds of plays. And that's kind of one of the issues for FUT, and you highlighted it with the lack of connector control sometimes, not watching their back as well. It feels like when they decide to go, they're very headstrong, and sometimes that does borderline stubborn. It becomes a bit predictable, and we're seeing Heroic making the most of it. This time they get aggressive and they just pick up jukes for free.
Yeah, another great ace up the sleeve potentially on the CT side is pushing those B hallways or the B tunnels. You can even do it through the monster tunnel if you have the right smokes going down. If anybody really wanted to be an overpass historian, you could go back and look at how the old Astralis lineup, the classic lineup with the majors and all the rest of it, how they would do these really aggressive smokes outside of B from the CT side, and they would push out through the monster tunnel. It was super sick. It's ancient history now, but yeah, if you ever wanted to really learn a bit of Counter-Strike, that might be something that would be fun to watch. 3-round difference here, and unfortunately, they're kind of getting a bit stuck here at the moment, FUT. Stuck on 8 rounds. Heroic looking to get to 12, and with the man advantage here, it's looking very likely.
Again, I feel like we're a broken record, Anders. Zero map control. No one connector. Yeah. They have no idea.
They're going to be walking in. It's a nice smoke for the high ground here, but they need a Molotov to clear out Youngster, and already excl and LNC. No really grenades thrown out here from FUT. They're not even getting close to this one. Hades shows up right at the end. LNC jumping in celebration, and it's a bit too much, you know, too much exuberance on his side. Doesn't matter that he dies, I think, at all. 12-8, and FUT can't move out of this position. Stuck in the mud. You said that Krabeni might need a chiropractor, but they need a chirotractor, Vince, to pull them out of the mud right now.
I actually enjoyed that one, Anders. Nice one. Good job.
It's the kind of work I do at 3 a.m., you know, when I'm up. Insomnia, just trying to write stuff down, my little notebook.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's, you know, they need an industrial strength one, and they don't really have any finesse right now. That's how I feel about this T side. Like, it's all brawn. There's not much brains behind it, you know? Like, super one-dimensional, we discussed multiple times, and they're not even winning out on these trades. Teamwork just seems to be lacking on FUT, running out of ideas, running out of time.
Yeah, I think that's the essential component. What you just said here is it's the lack of map control, slowly running out of time, and Heroic just having such a good read on these defenses that there's unfortunately not much to be done in some of these rounds. 12-8. I mean, I sound sad. I'm not like Heroic are playing great Counter-Strike, and this CAC tournament could be really sick for them. I think if they keep playing like this, it's going to be exciting. Youngster getting jumped upon and traded out. So 3 versus 3, and it's a classic B rush. They are very efficient, but Nilo in the best possible position to shut it down. He's going to get the first one. Grenade around the corner and up at the high ground. There's no smoke, and there won't be one either anytime soon. Jukes trying to plant the bomb, but there's no coverage, and he doesn't get the last digit in. Dead on arrival, and Krabeni alone to try and clutch it again. I don't think he's going to be able to. Nilo's right here looking for him, and already spotted out. The backup's going to be there at any rate. Nilo will take him out, and it will be Heroic to pick up the map and the series.
This is a really confident-looking Heroic as well, Anders. Like, it's easy to get kind of sidetracked and think like, oh, FUT are playing horrible on their T side, but you have to take into account that sometimes that's kind